Thank you. Well, first off, I want to thank Annie and Kevin for inviting me here tonight. A little bit about myself is that I'm born and raised in Iowa. I joined the Iowa Jaycees back in 2013 when I moved to Mason City, Iowa to become a public defender up there. Since then, I worked through different positions in my chapter and served my community as well as the state where I was the state president last year. And then this year I'm serving as the program manager for Passport Civic Leadership, as well as actually I'm now officially a candidate for 2021 National Vice President as well. You guys are my first official stop technically on my campaign trail somewhat. So congratulations. Last year when I was president, I pushed a lot on membership and the idea of Passport Civic Leadership. So when I was able to become a program manager, this is the one I wanted to work on. To start off, who here knows what Passport Civic Leadership is all about? All right, so I see a few hands that haven't signed up, don't know. Passport Civic Leadership is a way for you to better yourself as well as your chapter and your community. The unique thing about Passport to Civic Leadership is it's the only award in JCI USA that you can give to yourself. And by what I mean by that is some states have governorships. Those are nominated by other people to give in and on behalf of to you, senatorships internationally or ambassadors for national or top chapter, top president, top local member, everything like that. None of those are awards that you can receive yourself, but this award you can. Passport Civic Leadership is it is 10 levels with roughly 5 aspects per level. The whole point of it is to better yourself and others. So 2 people have not known about Passport. Who here has actually signed up and moved through some of the ranks for Passport? All right, so a few more hands. So Passport is extremely easy to sign up for, and I personally at first was not a believer in Passport. I thought, why would I do another task? I'd rather just want to focus on my community. When you do Passport, though, you really are giving back to your community and actually moving through the ranks. And a lot of people don't realize how easy they are to move through it. The idea of 10 different degrees to get to your Passport seems very daunting to a lot of people. But if you take your time, look at what you're doing, and talk to your chapter, you actually get a lot done. For example, if you look at the first level degree of JC, and if I can, what I'll do is never mind. When you look at the first chapter degree of JC, what you need to do is attend your chapter meetings, 50% of your meetings. You also need to participate in JC Project, attend a new member orientation, attend a chapter event, meet with your chapter and cite the vision, the creed, and the mission. So who here has all gone through all those things at some point through their career? Hopefully most people have actually done everything. So everyone that's there should be at least a first degree JC, and you're on your way to get into 10th degree. So I kind of want to open up for questions as well. If you guys have questions, feel free to just stop me, interrupt me a little bit. But my main point about this year was trying to push the fact that Passport is an extremely easy tool to use. The way to use it is go to jcmember.com, and everyone should basically know about that site anyway, because that's how you do your registration for your dues. That's how you update your mailing address, and that's how we make sure that we don't have just paper members. Not that paper members are bad, but so I actually did a test, and I was looking at this earlier this year because I hosted Leadership Live with Nationals in April. And as of right now, with JCI the Passport program, you can actually complete over 50% of the task while you're during the COVID time period. So you don't actually need to have stuff done in person. A lot of the things you can be tricky, and you can use the skills that we have through Zoom, Facebook, or other ways to actually complete these tasks that are necessary to go through the ranks. So a lot of them are just literally just taking time and looking at it. By the way, I forgot to ask, who in this room is actually a 10th degree JC? All right, kudos. We got 2 people, and we should probably have, 3 to 4 more people at a minimum. A lot of it is just not looking at what you have done yet and getting the degrees done. Once you move through the ranks, it's important that you should be recognized. So I kind of push every state as well as chapter to recognize individuals once they've completed the different levels. You can get the level certificates online, and I know at least in JCI Michigan, at each and Minnesota, they do ceremonies at each of their conferences, recognizing when someone moves up one of the degrees. Now, when going through the ranks for the degrees, you only are the highest level which you fully complete. So you may have done tasks on level 9, your 9th degree, but only completed your 5th degree of JC. If you haven't completed all the rest of them, then you're only completed a 5th degree JC and vice versa once you get those tasks done. Does anyone have any questions so far right now about Passport or tricks or trades that I found in order to get Passport done earlier and easier?
I got one. So I went to like LTU, I think it is, that Leadership Training University thing, which I believe is so that you got to do to get your 7th degree. Now, I'm currently only a 4th degree, working on my 5th, obviously. But when I get to around my 7th degree, do I got to go do LTU again, or?
No, and that's the thing that's important to make sure that people realize. You don't have to check them off one after another. A perfect example is I was in the Scouts, and you had to have a certain number of merit badges every single time to go up to a certain rank. Well, just because I didn't get all the badges at one time, I had got the badges ahead of time doesn't mean I had to get more badges. So, for example, you could check off that item on your 7th degree right now, as well as anything on the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th or 10th right now. And when you're doing that, you don't have to do it in chronological order. When people do it that way, it can take longer and they have to repeat some of the steps they've done. But take a look at it, go through the ranks, and you'll see that you actually have more than you've done quickly. And that way you can get your 5th degree done, as well as your 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. But that's a good question. Yeah.
So Parker, the best way to access anything for Passport, to look up the tasks and everything, is really just to log into our jcmember.com database and just go through where it says Passport tasks or Passport summary, correct?
Correct. And JC Member is actually pretty user-friendly for both cell phones and on computers. When you're literally going through, you can go to halfway down the page, it says a Passport on a regular members page. I'm not as familiar with what a regular members page looks like now, as I've had to deal with different tasks for state or chapter presidents and different levels of access. But when you go to that page, all you need to click on is Passport and then click the task you have completed. After you complete that task, Kevin should get an email saying, hey, so-and-so has completed this task, this task, this task. It's then up to the local chapter president to check off on anything like that. Additionally, if Kevin, you're the chapter president, right?
Nick. No, Nick. I am Nick.
Nick. Okay, sorry.
Yep.
Nick would have to check everything off. But if Nick wants to complete some of his tasks as well to be able to move forward, you then have the ability to have the state board prove your stuff, VP, state president, things like that. That way you're still able to move through the ranks while doing chapter president, because there's quite a bit of things that you're doing now as chapter president that move and check off things later on, from project management guides to interviews with the community, anything like that.
Yeah.
So really, I always think that, right, a lot of people thought this is a bad time to do Passport. And honestly, this is probably one of the better times because there's so many things you can get done. And if you want to just try to fly through it, you can, but you're not really getting through everything you want to get what you're supposed to. What you're supposed to get out of Passport is to make yourself a better individual, a better member for your chapter, a better chapter for your community, as well as a overall better community in general. If you look through the tasks, they will help you have a successful year as a member or a chapter or even a state. Does anyone have some other questions right now about Passport or anything like that?
Although if you wanted to, you can share your screen if you enabled it now.
Yeah, I made you a host.
Okay, well, let me see if I can show you some of the ones that I think my position are quite easy to show off and are kind of beneficial. All right. So right now, if you look at the screen that we have, you know, it's 5 pages, which seems very daunting, but it really is not that difficult if you look at some of the things that you have going on. Sometimes your chapter needs to host events, or your state needs to, or you go somewhere to get it done. But every single time you do stuff, it makes it easier. So if you look at the first degree, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 can all be done virtually. You can attend a virtual social hour meeting with your members. You can participate in a drive to raise money for your local community, food banks, blood drives, anything like that you can do. And you can get all that stuff done for first degree. So everything can be done first degree, can be done electronically. Same as if you move on to second degree. You can look at being an active member in a chapter project. Just because you're planning a project does not mean that you're not an active member and it doesn't happen. If you plan it and work on it, you can still move through the ranks and get that done. You can learn about the national programs that we have, competitions. In fact, every single one of you right now is going to be able to complete level 2, part 2, which says learn about national and JCI trainings, programs, initiatives, and share what you've learned with your chapter or president. Right now, you're learning about one of the key product programs that we have, which is Passport. Additionally, this is the easiest time to invite people because everyone's stuck inside. They need new people. Look at inviting a friend to the chapter meetings. And if you guys are doing virtually or like you are, in person, invite them to come hang out. Or if they're not ready to get out, have them online and see if they can virtually connect. Once again, all these degrees, if you just take your time to take a look at them, are stuff that you can move pretty quickly through and are very easy to help and work on with. Additionally, you don't have to complete everything in order to get done. You can conduct a new member orientation either for a group or one-on-one. So if you can't get enough people to do it, do this with social distancing, have it be virtual. Have it be a way that you can have it done in a way that is beneficial to both your community and yourselves. Like I said, every time you're going to need to get the president sign off on, but you can click multiple items at one time to have them sign off. Does anyone have any questions or want any tips or trades on ways in which you can kind of sneak past and get easy access points? Hearing none. So Ed?
You have a question? Ashley?
Oh, I was just saying any tips work.
Okay. Well, so I mean, like I said, my tip of always is like when you're going through the ranks, it seems daunting, but at least focus on one area first and then work your way through each one. And then better yet, always try to finagle ways through it and say what you can. I mean, if you look at it, there's ways in which you can get everything to successfully qualify. Whether you do your debates, your competitions, if you don't want to do it in person and people don't want to do it virtual. I mean, right now you can get a lot of them done. And I recommend if people have a hard time getting tasks done or they don't feel comfortable, try doing the virtual routes. Attend a different state's all-state or a convention where they're having competitions and you can get them done that way. Also, talk to your members who are already 10th degree JCs. They'll tell you some of the tips and trades that they got when they move through the ranks and complete it done. And then one of the biggest things you can do as a chapter to get a larger turnout is actually recognize the members and for what they're doing for the passport. A lot of times we wait till the 10th degree, and by that point, we're missing on the opportunity to recognize individuals who've moved through the ranks from 1 through 10. I mean, there's a lot of recognition that people should get, especially after getting the first degree done. That's the first step and actually the hardest step to get done in my position. because people don't realize how easy it is to get everything moving forward. Once they get started, they can get the ball rolling and moving from there. I know it's going to try. I know I'm talking a little fast. I'm trying to keep it short and sweet because I know you guys have other things on your agenda. I don't want to keep you guys too long tonight. Does anyone have any other questions for me or anything that they want to know about Passport or anything like that?
I got a question for a specific requirement. The attend the city council requirement. So, you know, we need to attend like what? Is there like a one paragraph we need to write and come back to our president about or something? Or?
Well, and that kind of comes back to what your president feels like. So like the city council, for example, in Mason City, Iowa, where I live, they've gone virtual. So if I watch the Zoom call that they're on, that's technically me attending a city council meeting and listening to everything that's going on in my community. Those are things you can still do and get the task done and be active. You can explain, listen, I attended the meeting on this night. They talked about this, this, this. Perhaps we look at talking to them about being involved in this area. And that also is a great way for you to try to build a connection with your community leaders and see how we can help them make a better community.
Gotcha.
I have one about the 7th degree. It's attend a national meeting. Now,
Okay.
what ones that are being done virtually could be
So
qualified?
if you attended in April, we had our convention, all virtual. I've talked with President Justin, and if you've attended a portion of the day, even, you know, just one of the trainings, you've technically attended a national meeting. And that would qualify for you to check off that level 7 aspect right there. Now, some hardliners will say, no, you need to be in person. Well, the problem is that we can't expect everyone to be trying to get things done that way when they're in the middle of a pandemic as we are right now. Political aspects aside, it's important that people still are able to move through it ranks. And as Justin says, you know, if you're attending and you're getting something out from our meetings that we're putting forward, that's a benefit that you should get to be recognized. So yeah, if you attended that counts. You're good to go on that one. So yeah, some people may attend like LTUs or the leadership summits that they're doing now or the academy, and those work as well as regular meetings. But if you attend that thing right there, or in October, if it goes virtual and you attend that, you got yourself checked off there as well.
Okay, thank you.
What about an institute meeting?
Well, institute meetings aren't technically a national meeting, so that would not count for the national meeting aspect. And half the reason for that is that some states are not part of an institution. So we can't use that as a basis, but there's definitely ways in which you can still use that institute where it would be attend a joint meeting with a neighboring or chapter event. Technically, an institute meeting is that in of itself where you are dealing with a neighboring state or a chapter that's all attending. So that's something right there you could use. As well as attend a state or a regional meeting. Any state or regional meeting qualifies. Now, I'm of the position that I want to see as many people get through the task as possible. And if that means attending the institute meeting, technically that's a state meeting because your state, if you're a part of an institute, is supposed to attend those and go there. There's also great trainings you can get from your institute. And there are actual meetings and ruling parties there that you attend. But like I said, those are things you can do, and you can try to finagle or attend a chapter or training event. If your chapter doesn't do a certain training or do competitions, there are plenty of chapters that will accept you and being willing to allow you to do those events. Any other questions? So in summary, I do want to say that I think that Passport for me helped out a lot. It was a roadmap in my opinion for becoming a better chapter. During my year, I pushed Passport and Civic Leadership, and I pushed that for my members. During that year, we increased growth of members. We increased the budget that we had in fundraising. We also had better community relations with local members, and we actually built a nature trail based on that discussion with the leaders. Not that it's only based on passports, but I do think that passport was a nice roadmap and skill set that I was able to use and a way for me to check off. That also is a slight plug for Civic Leadership certificate. So each chapter can do that as well. And it's not meant to be more obligations and burdens to do, but actually a way for you to become, make sure you're doing everything to be a successful chapter and state as a whole. You can ask Annie as a state president. I mean, we have one at the state level that I tried doing, and granted there's stats that I didn't complete because we weren't at growth last year as a state as a whole, but everything else you can use as a way to make sure you're doing everything correctly for your state or chapter, whether it's filing taxes on time, making sure you have your insurance, everything like that. Passport is just the individual aspect of that makes you a better person as a whole. And honestly, I think it's a great benefit since we do pay to be members of the JCs. People ask us, what benefit do I get? Well, this is a training that I'm doing myself, and I'm bettering myself individually, that you can't do this training without being a JC. So with that, I appreciate you guys. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. Annie's got my contact info or anything like that. As well as if you have any questions right now, I'd love to answer. But if not, I'll let you get on with your meeting. And I appreciate you guys having me here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Parker.
Thanks, Parker.
All right.
Welcome in Ohio anytime.
Well, you know, I was going to look at visiting you guys' institute meeting because I've never been to Ohio actually, but with flights and with trials starting back up, that may not work. But I hope to see most of you, if not all of you, in St. Louis if we do still have it. And I'll see you then. Thanks all.